mentally what it means to have a horse like Derrick Henry, man, that you could just seriously turn tonight, another buck 40 something on the ground.
Yes, what a blessing it has been to have Derrick Henry on the Baltimore Ravens. Thank goodness the Ravens finally got it in their head that they needed to bring in a proven back so Lamar Jackson did not have to be the Ravens' leading rusher as he has been for the first 6 years of his career. Having one of the greatest running backs in NFL history come help lead your team to victory week in and week out has been a blessing. And Lamar Jackson is very happy to have him on the team, just like many Ravens fans.
Yeah, man, he's just a great all-around back, man. I can't like give him credit enough for how locked in he is, and how dynamic he is.
Just like last night when Derrick Henry helped lead the Baltimore Ravens to a 30-23 win over the Las Vegas Chargers. Now, Lamar Jackson was not very happy with this offense, especially with the slow starts to games these last few weeks. But Derrick Henry's running, Todd Monken switching up the game plan and actually doing what works helped jumpstart the team. Now, Derrick Henry did not have a touchdown. This is the first game in the first 12 that the Ravens had that he hasn't scored a touchdown. Listen, 13 touchdowns in 12 games, not bad at all. But it was what happened after the game, what was said after the game that has left many of us perplexed. Now, I understand that Khalil Mack, who was a great player in his own right until injuries kind of derailed him a bit, but he's still a good player in the NFL. He had some things to say unprovoked. I don't understand why you would come out of your mouth and say such things. You would think that great level players would have respect for other great level players. But I'm guessing that he spoke his true feelings. And sometimes after a loss, you're in your emotions, especially when you don't feel that your team played the way that it is capable of playing. Frustration sets in. Reporters come up to you, shove a microphone in your face and ask you questions, and then you respond. But to me, I don't believe that he said this, but listen, I appreciate the honesty. I appreciate the forthcomingness. I appreciate that he didn't give that regular, well, we got to play better next time, blah, 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 blah. He spoke his true feelings. But when you do this about one of the greats of the game, it is amazing. And this is what Khalil Mack had to say. Now, Kahlil was asked why it is so hard playing against a guy like Derrick Henry. And Mack's response was, I don't think that it's hard to play against that guy, and I hope that we see them again. I'm guessing that Mack did not realize that Derrick Henry just ran for a buck 40 on him. And you want to see this again. And this was a game that the Ravens offense was slow getting out the gate. They were slow to get Henry the ball and feed him. He had 24 carries, but I do believe he could have done more early on in the game. But that's another thing with Todd Monken that we'll discuss at some other time. So this guy ran for a ball 40. As a team, the Ravens ran for 212 yards. And you want to see this guy again. Now, understand ego gets involved, and you feel like if you get a second opportunity, you may do better. But this is not where the comments stop. Then I think Mack tried to clean it up a little bit, but the damage was already done. He continued with, it's not hard for me to play against that guy. I love playing against the greats, and this was no different. When I say hard, I mean in the sense of playing against him. If I'm on the field, I know that if he comes to my side, I got him. But you didn't got him last night, and we see where this got you. It is truly amazing for me to see a guy get whipped on the field and then afterwards talk smack about, hey, I hope I get to see you next time, because next time things are going to be different. Like Derrick Henry has not been this guy for the last 10 years. And while Derrick Henry is a stone's throw away from turning 30 years old, he is still the NFL's second leading rusher. He has 1,325 yards on the season in 12 games. He's averaging 110 yards a game, and he has 13 rushing touchdowns while averaging 6.0 yards per carry at almost 30. Kahlil, your best days are behind you. So if the Ravens do see the Chargers in the playoffs, I don't think this is a problem that you want to see coming.
Pause.
Because Derrick Henry has not slowed down. You, my friend, injuries, yes, you had a very promising career early. You were a dominant defensive player. Right now, you are a shell of your former self, and Derrick Henry is still Derrick Henry. So watch what you say, watch what you ask for, because you just might get that opportunity, and it may not turn out the way that you thought that it would.
Did that go the way you thought it was going to go? Nope.
And then if you see the Ravens again in the playoffs, I'm promising you, that Lamar Jackson is going to be a lot better than he was in this game. Once again, slow starts, some missed passes. Lamar Jackson didn't do much, but he was very efficient. And to me, the surprising part was, turn around, Lamar had 177 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 1 rushing.
Type of game it is, bro. Yeah, top 10. Matter of fact, top 2 and not 2.
It wasn't the Jackson 5 that I expected. I expected Lamar to torch the Chargers through the air, especially with them having some injuries on the defense, but it didn't happen. But the Ravens still got their desired outcome. And what is truly more amazing to me, like I said, after that 177-yard output that Lamar Jackson had, surprising, when I checked the stats, Lamar right now is leading the NFL in passing. Now, granted, he has had one more game than everyone else that's at the top of the leaderboard, but for him at this point of the season to still be number 1 is quite an amazing thing, especially if you look at the last 2 weeks. He had 177 yards against the Chargers, and then last week versus the hated Steelers, Lamar had 207 yards passing. And with these 2 down games, he is still at the top. So that is telling you the level of play that Lamar has elevated his game to. And right now, he has 3,053 yards passing with 5 games left to go. That's right, 5 games. Lamar Jackson only needs 626 yards to break his career high. He is 947 yards away from his first 4,000-yard passing season. And with the down games that Lamar had, this, my friend, is something that a lot of people didn't expect, especially since Lamar is not a passer. For him to have a 4,000-yard season under his belt, what else can you say? And not only that, Lamar Jackson has 27 passing touchdowns on the season, which is tied for first. So he's first in passing. He's first in passing touchdowns. He's by far first in passer rating. So that tells you Lamar Jackson is having an MVP season. And from his first MVP season in 2019, Lamar Jackson is 9 touchdowns away from tying a career high. So he has 5 games to get those 9 touchdowns. And I think that he can do it. I think that Lamar is going to set all career highs in passing yards. Previously, his career high for passer rating was 113. That was in his MVP season. He's now sitting at 117. So across the board, Lamar Jackson has elevated his game. Now, can the Baltimore Ravens as a team elevate their game when it comes to the playoffs? Can Lamar keep this level of consistency and efficiency going throughout the playoffs to help the Ravens get to that elusive Super Bowl? Because that's the one thing that is missing from Lamar Jackson's career. And currently, the Ravens now with the win versus the Chargers sit as the number 5 seed. They are only a half game behind the Pittsburgh Steelers in the AFC North standing, so that number 2, number 3 seed is not out of reach. The Ravens need to win their remaining games and get a little bit of help if they want to move up. But the AFC North and at least the top 4 seeding is in the foreseeable future. Don't forget that the Ravens have another game versus the Steelers, this time in Baltimore, to set things straight. So if the Ravens can continue to win and bump it up, we can get a home playoff game. I would love that because maybe I can get some tickets. Maybe I'll get to see the game. Maybe I'll go to my first playoff game this year. But the Ravens have an extremely tough task coming up this week when they take on the Philadelphia Eagles. Yes, the 9-2 Eagles, who have won 7 straight games. Saquon Barkley is now in the MVP conversation. Some have him as the MVP frontrunner after a 255-yard rushing performance versus the Los Angeles Rams. To me, this game is going to be that litmus test to let us know where this offensive line ranks, to know where our defense ranks going up against a truly dominant team. The Ravens defense has played well in the last 2 games versus the Steelers and versus the Chargers, but the Chargers had so many drops yesterday, it's hard to kind of tell. Now, when we go up against A.J. Brown, we go up against Devontae Smith, if healthy, and Saquon Barkley out the backfield, this is going to be very telling. And I think that this is going to be what quite possibly could be a Super Bowl matchup. These are 2 teams that I could see meeting again in this year's Super Bowl, outside of maybe the Ravens playing Detroit. So as for now, let's just enjoy this victory, prepare for the Eagles, and fix whatever little issues that we have on offense so that we do not start games slow like we have the last 2 weeks. Because I guarantee you, if we start slow next week, we might be in trouble.
Nah, man, I'm cool.